welcome back to Calmsden, and we are now on finally on version 1.2 of the map. So going to have a quick run round and show you what I have done. Basically, I followed the instructions in my video, pretty much. You give or take, so all of our hay bales are in the shed now. I have ploughed in this field, but we've, as I said in the previous one, I've not gone as nuts in terms of ploughing in right up to the boundaries. I've left it as it was, just ploughed in the field that was there. No field data on this yet, so we've got the manure pile back in. Sugar beets are off in the distance, and this field I've set. I used EasyDev tools to set to all harvested corn. Got our maize in the pit and also the grass in the pit, so I did those before I skipped ahead. Field 1 is set to some sort of, not field 1, courseplay field 1, so our custom field over by the farm shop sell point, I think it is. Has been ploughed in. It's got stones on some of it, but that's not a problem because we'll roll it after we've planted, and it's got some sort of weird texture on it, which was brought over from me doing the importing. We've got the bales up by the garden centre that we are storing up here, and this field has been ploughed in and replanted. Still need liming, but it's in the ready to harvest state. I'm just going to leave it because we obviously cut this in. We're still on October 3rd at the moment, which is where we were at the end of the last game day. We've gained a little bit of time, but yeah. I'm not going to mow any of the grass because we just did that, so it's all cut. And yeah, not sure where we are headed next. This is a bit of a random episode, doing lots of bits and pieces as I try and get my head around basically having, yeah, it's really weird. I'm not sure why actually, that moving to a new version of the map and basically continuing on, it threw me for a bit. So it took me an episode to get back into the flow of things. So first thing I want to do, actually, my brain has kicked in, we're going to sell this trailer off and we're going to buy a new bale trailer. Just checking the sales. It's the Lizard GP140 SPBK. This is a trailer that can also tip, which is quite cool. I was just checking that it hitched up okay, so we can sell the drawbar as well. And something that I'd forgotten, I was speaking in previous videos about buying the Kubota skid steer. Who forgot that we actually have a skid steer up at the greenhouses? Did you forget? Because I did. So we are headed up there now because we have a lot of pallets of lettuce and honey to sell. Which I spotted as I was moving stuff around. So we're going to get those loaded up and sold. So this skid steer predominantly is going to stay up here. And I think I will still get the Kubota one for down on the farm. Taking on Carl's point that I need to check that it will work with the feeder wagon that we have and make sure that it reaches high enough. This guy is going to take a trip down to the farm soon because we have lots of jobs where having a skid steer would be handy, and at the moment we can't afford a new one, so having the this trailer which can tip so I can load vehicles on is a real benefit. And it's slightly wider, so it looks like we can go 3 wide on the stacks of pallets. What I found is this variant doesn't have belts. You need to put the bale catcher on the front for it to have belts, so we're going to do that. So it was a very steady drive over to the nearest sell point to make 15.5 grand from selling lettuce and a little bit of an environmental bonus, even though we haven't done anything yet. So yeah, I think I said I've added precision farming in now. It was always my intent to put precision farming in when we moved maps. So we're going to put the honey in the back of the pickup because that does have belts. Hopefully it will all fit. Probably going to add some more beehives at some point and some more greenhouses and maybe the olive trees up here. I was chatting about whether we should add olive trees in on a save game, and maybe we put them on here. We put them up here in this kind of, not sure what to call it. But this little area that we have up here that's just, you know, producing some produce for us. I guess that's kind of right. You know, honey, lettuces, maybe some olives. So that's all the honey in the back of the pickup. I got some weird lag spikes at this point. I think what it was in the end was my laptop charger was not quite connected properly, and that massively affects performance on my laptop. I think I've said before, I have a relatively high-end gaming laptop, and it's designed to be plugged in. Yeah, you can use it not plugged in, but you get a fraction of the performance. So I think that was the issue, that the charger lead was not quite connected properly. So, a couple of grand for the honey. We don't seem to be getting a massive amount from the honey, but you know, it's free income. We're not having to do any work for it, so I'm not going to complain. And we're going to swap the trailer over straight away, and that gives us belts. Hey, I was really nervous when I found this trailer didn't have belts and went digging in the XML. We have a fertilizing contract. I think I picked that up pretty much as soon as I opened the game up. I'm sure most of you are aware of the issue of it seems some maps, the contracts vanish really quickly. Definitely on here, and on Greenlands, although I don't do contracts on there, I'm seeing that as well. So we're going to go and do this fertilizing contract. Something I have done on here, which is checking, this is one of the leasing options, and it has wheat in it, which is not a bad thing. One thing I have done is along with my tutorial for moving maps, I went through my tutorial for adding in more contracts to the fields on here, and now pretty much every grass field that we don't own has contracts available, and pretty much every other field as well. I went through and added contracts, and you'll see later on in this video we do a contract on one of those new grass fields, and it is immense and stupid. So I also have, I've been using better contracts for a while, but I've added in now so 11 grand for that. Sorry, I've added in my version, which has got a couple of custom setups in it already. It's got the mowing setup that I did in that video. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be 60 grand for the deposit to lease field 9, which is a bit out of our budget at the moment, and that's what prompted me to think actually we'll wait until spring. So precision farming, we better do some field scanning, I guess. So at least the crop scanner. This was after the point where I'd made the decision that whichever fields we're going to lease or buy, we will do in the spring. So I'm going to scan all of the fields we own now. That means we can lime them. We can think about getting some nitrogen on them for whatever crops we're going to put in. And then in the spring, we'll lease this again and do the fields that we end up leasing or buying. So we also have a massive pile of sugar beet in the way. So we do need to get that moved before we can do any work on the field really. We can work around it with the crop scanning, but next job on here is going to be lime, and that means we're going to need to move all those sugar beets somewhere. So that's field 6 done. We will move on to field 8, which is pretty much perfect width. We can scan this in just about one pass for most of the field. Yeah, I really wish I hadn't tipped that pile of sugar beets in the field, because I'm going to have to clear that before we can get to work into the cow pasture. Getting that done, and I think you can see that the margin of meadow grass is much bigger now. Oh yeah, that should make using course plate easier. It means we might get slightly less, but I'm not worried. And actually, the nitrogen is not bad on there. One of the changes that was made in the update to precision farming was that fields start off with a bit more nitrogen, and grass needs less anyway. So yeah, the grass fields might be okay for nitrogen from the start. Everything needs lime. That's life with precision farming, isn't it? You always need to put lime on stuff. So the plan was to head up to the store now and pick up lots of lime. But I'm actually going to do most of the liming in the next video. I think it's the next video I do it in. I have one more video recorded, but we have some lime, so we may as well use that and get that spread. So So we'll use the Puma because the Fendt is on that trailer, poised to go up to the store to buy mountains of lime. So we'll just see how we get on. We can't put lime in the front, I don't know what to call it, a front box. So just using the sulky spreader with its stupidly wide width, which I think covers this field in one pass potentially, but I'm going to knock the width down a bit because I don't want to waste lime. So we'll go for 20 meters, and I think we end up doing 3 passes then, but hopefully there's a bit less wastage. That's the theory anyway. On the bigger fields we'll use the full width. And with fertilizer I tend to worry a bit less, but you get through so much lime that although it's cheap, it's just the volume you have to transport and load up. Whereas fertilizer is really expensive, but you don't use as much, so I don't worry about a little bit of overspreading. But first load gone. I think we have enough to do one more load. I think. Let's just have a look what we've got in the shed. So we've got 1 bag and then 2 pallets. So I think, apart from taking a thumbnail, this is the point where we head up to the garden centre to pick up the skid steer, because it's going to be much easier to get those pallets out with the skid steer than it is with a telehandler. And that's one of the reasons I want to get a skid steer to keep down at the yard rather than having to move it between here and the yard. And I think the Kubota will be more capable than this little New Holland. Although this little New Holland is a nice bit of kit. I was pretty impressed that it can pick up a full, and this isn't a full pallet of lime, but it does just about manage to pick up a full pallet of lime to load into the spreader. And that's a lot of weight for a little skid steer. Yeah, this one, I was pretty impressed that it actually managed to do this. And it struggles a little bit, maybe a lot, but you know, it's close enough. What we're going to do is we're just going to unload some of it into the spreader, and that'll make it a bit lighter, and yeah. Job's good. And stupidly, I managed to clear off the GPS course, so we're going to have to reset that. That is one of the downsides of VCA GPS. I guess with guidance steering you can save the course, although I probably wouldn't have because I'm really bad at that. So I don't think we miss out anything there. And one more pass and field 8 will be done. We'll chuck what we've got on field 6, and then next video we'll go and buy a whole load of lime and do everything. Here's the plan. Just top off with what was left. Excuse me, and we have our full width now and our very, very lime covered tractor. And I'm just spinning to go around the other way now so we stay away from the pile of sugar beet, because we will need to clear that. If I was being smart and a little bit cheaty, I would have tipped that somewhere else when I moved, because I had to load it into a trailer to transfer it. And I would have put it where I end up tipping it if I was being a bit more smart / cheaty. So contracting time. Field 24, 45 grand. There was a bigger grass field, but I have done that field on a contract for testing, and it takes forever. So we've got the really nice setup of the 2 Deutzes in black, and then I brought our black tractor down as well, although it's a little bit grey at the moment. So that will give us 1 tractor for mowing, 1 for baling, and 1 for carting. Seems sensible to me. And also just needed to get some fuel in the case so it doesn't run out. So lots of courseplay coming up, because this is a pretty big job. And one of the things you'll find, certainly on Calmsden with the fields that don't have contracts, is there are some funny bits. So you'll see when I start mowing, it says that this is reserved for contract work, and that just means that the field definitions may be not quite right. And that's maybe why there aren't contracts on here, and why I say, you know, use at your own risk with all these weird things that I do. But we are going to get the mowers going and the baler going on courseplay. We have the slow bale. I think I'm going to update this setup to get the one of the putting a bale wrapper combos on here, because the slow bale is really slow. It was the limiting factor for getting this contract done. I think it was running at about 3 miles an hour. It was a pretty heavy swath, so but yeah, it was definitely the limiting factor. So first load of bales going up to the sell point to deliver. I think we need to deliver just over 100 bales. So yeah, the first load was 22% of the contract. It's getting dark. We do end up working pretty late into the night and actually finishing this contract off in the next game day. It got to the point where it was too dark for me to see what I was trying to do. So another load of bales, and it is the early hours of the 1st of November, and contract done. So everything that's left in the field is ours. And I've already taken several loads up. I'm storing these up at the BGA because I'm going to sell these ones through the BGA. We don't need the extra, so these ones can go through the BGA. They wreck quite a lot of excess bales, an embarrassing number if I'm honest, but it took us a lot of time to do this, and I think we deserve it. Maybe silage contracts are definitely very generous with the reward that they pay out for excess bales. Very, very generous. So delivered that full load, and we have up here 125 excess silage bales. Yeah, we'll be working on selling those next time. Thanks for watching, folks. Like, subscribe, comment. I will catch you next time on Calmsden. Oh, we need to redeem the contract, so that's an extra £42,000 plus all the bales. See ya.